Hello friends and welcome back to another video. Today I am going to show how you can easily grow your own tomatoes from store-bought ones. So over here I have taken a tomato and I am just going to take off the seeds and drop them on the soil. You can also dry off the seeds for better germination. But during the winter seasons when I had planted these tomatoes, I directly used the seeds and then I covered it a little bit with the soil. And then just water it and let it germinate in an area which has a little bit of sunlight. So over here you can see the seeds have already germinated and slowly the saplings grow up, and till the time they get a few leaves you can allow them to grow, and once 2 to 4 leaves are formed, that is the right time to transplant them. So before we transplant, we have to prepare the soil, and for the transplantation purpose I have taken normal garden soil and I have added some compost to it, that is simple cow dung compost and some leaf compost which I had made, and then I used that soil in the pot, and as you can see the soil is very much light and it is not too much sticky kind of soil. It is a good well drained soil. I have added some sand also. So make a basic soil and then I put water on the soil so that the soil settles down a little bit. And after preparation of the soil, I went back to the saplings and I took out a bunch of saplings. Actually I had less pots and the saplings which had come out were too much, so instead of adding 2 plants in each pot I added 4 to 5 plants, but it is preferable to have 2 plants per pot, and then simply make a hole and put the saplings in, and that's all that you need to do in the initial stage. And because the soil already has some organic compost in it, so you don't really have to add any fertilizer or anything at this time. So simply plant it and water it and let it grow. Now I had one problem, that in the apartment balcony where I had planted these tomato plants, it got almost negligible sunlight, direct sunlight. So whatever growth happened, it happened due to the indirect sunlight, because there was absolutely no sunlight coming and falling on the plants, but still it grew in the indirect sunlight. So it is preferable to plant these under direct sun so that they can grow well. But because I had planted these in an area with indirect sunlight, so the plants became really tall. As you can see over here, for want of light they just grew so high. But that's okay, it soon started flowering. As you can see, buds had formed and the flowering had happened. So you can grow tomatoes in indirect sunlight also, but the yield will be a little less and the tomato size might not be optimum, but still they are good enough to eat. So as you can see, the plants have grown really tall. And when flowering starts, one thing that you need to do is, I made a mustard cake and neem cake liquid, soaked it overnight, and then I made this dilute solution and I dug the plant a little bit on the top and I poured this fertilizer, which is again an organic fertilizer, to the plant. So these tomatoes were grown fully in an organic manner without any chemical fertilizers. So in this manner you can fertilize the plant once the flowering starts and once the fruiting starts. Once in every 15 days you can add this. And I also added a rod over here so that the plants get a little bit of support, but the plants soon outgrew that rod, so I had to again tie it up in the railings of the balcony. So in this manner I also gave them support because they had grown really tall. And you can see this was the first tomato which formed. That's a tiny tomato, that was the first one, and this one I have already harvested by now. So one issue which I came across while growing the tomatoes in indirect sunlight was that many of the flowers, they just fell off without giving the tomatoes. But still I did get a lot of tomatoes. So if I would have grown this in direct sunlight, I know the yield would have been much higher, but still lots of tomatoes grew even without sunlight, as you can see. And even after the first batch of tomatoes grew, I could see many more flowers blooming on the upper part of the plant, so I am sure I'll be getting some more tomatoes later on during this month. But you have to keep on fertilizing it in between by giving the mustard cake liquid, because we are growing it in small pots and they do need some nutrition during the fruiting stage. And as you can see over here, the plants were loaded with tomatoes. So seeing these bunches of tomatoes really made me happy, because I could finally grow some organic tomatoes even though there was negligible sunlight. And the first tomato which had grown, that even started ripening on the plant, as you can see over here. And within 3-4 days, once it started turning red, it had completely ripened on the plant, and it was one of the best tomatoes I had ever had. In fact, I harvested it yesterday itself. And this is all I have to share, that even if you are not having much sunlight, you can definitely grow tomatoes, as I've shown from store-bought ones. So I hope you enjoyed watching this video, and thanks for watching.